We are live on Facebook with another series of patient education series by HCH. And today I have a very impeccable personality with me. I have somebody who's a doctor, an author, a pioneer, educationist, accommodation, and a very passionate about sleep. Ji haan, sleep, neend. And she's not passionate about sleeping, but creating awareness about healthy sleep. स्लीप जो हम हमेशा देखते हैं, जब हम सोचते हैं एक बच्चा जो बहुत पीसफुली सो रहा है, या एक एडवर्टाइजमेंट जिसमें कोई इतना फ्रेश उठता है सोने के बाद. So that's what sleep is. And our guest today is Dr. Maneet Bhatia. She's a senior neurologist and speech specialist with more than 30 years of experience. She is director of Neurology Sleep Center, New Delhi, and is also currently the vice president of Indian Society of Sleep Research. She's so passionate again about sleep that she has written a book on sleep, The Sleep Solution, the first non-fiction book on sleep. She's an alumnus of Christian Medical College, Ludhiana, where she did her graduation and post-graduation in medicine. And then for the next 11 years, she was with the most prestigious AIMS, where she did her super specialization and then was also an additional professor there. She has received scholarship from 10,000 Women Entrepreneurs Program by Goldman Sachs and Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. She's also been awarded with Indira Gandhi Mahila Ratan Award and also an award by American Associations of Physicians of Indian origin for extraordinary contribution in sleep medicine. She's so passionate about, again, sleep that for the last 10 years, to create awareness, she has been celebrating World Sleep Day. She wants people to learn about sleep. She wants doctors who treat sleep disorders and issue with sleeps, and is now pioneer in launching India's first online sleep institute, which is Sleep Medicine Institute, which has trained more than 250 doctors and technicians. You can also find her on Udemy, offering short courses for general public on essential ingredients of sleep, 21-day sleep challenge, and helping your children to sleep better. She's a member of, you name it, and every organization in this world which has to deal with neurology or sleep. Academy of Neurology, Indian Epilepsy Society, Indian Sleep Disorder Association, World Association of Sleep Medicine, International Restless Leg Society Study Group, American Academy of Electrodiagnostic Medicine, International Pediatric Sleep Academy, American Academy of Sleep Medicine, and World Sleep Society. And she has been associated with the most prestigious institutes in the NCR, whether it is Sir Gangaram Hospital, Medanta Medicity, or Fortis Escorts Heart Institute. Well, after such a short introduction, I welcome you, Dr. Bhatia.
Thank you, Dr. Gaurav, and it's a pleasure to be here. Yes, it seems like era gone by, and I'm still trying to spread the awareness of sleep. So looking forward to this interaction and hoping that by the end of this session, that some people will go back with the message that do not neglect sleep.
Absolutely, ma'am. And I think we doctors need to learn the most. We have been ingrained during our PG and DM days. Here is sleep kya hota hai, right? I remember that when in the sleep I was able to prescribe the right insulin to a patient who was going for surgery tomorrow morning. My boss used to tell me, now you're trained, right? You're doing an auto mode, right? So I can well recognize that one. So recently there was this movie on Netflix called Awake. And the movie was about that there is something which happens in the Earth's atmosphere, that the rewiring of the brain happens and people are unable to sleep. And then what they were fearing is that if they can't find a cure for this in next 5 days, the whole population of the world will be extinct. So important is sleep. But what is sleep? Why do we need to sleep now?
So I wish the answer was as simple as the question. But we have learned a lot over the last few decades, actually, the last maybe 10 to 15 years. So sleep has been talked about by in all our Vedas, in our scriptures. We have Kumbhakaran, so people associate Kisara time sona. We have authors like David Copperfield who've talked about that, the big fat Joe. So poems have been written about, Shakespeare has written about sleep. So sleep has been a very fascinating topic all these years. But let's come now to what do we know now. We have, let's say, we are in this era, fortunately, where we can study and understand what happens in the brain during sleep. So I'm a neurologist, so I will focus, my talk will keep going towards the brain, not only because I'm a neurologist, but the last few years, it has been shown that sleep is like an amazing uh, condition for the brain health. So, how does one understand sleep? I think a simple thing to do is everybody should take a few seconds to think about what do they feel when they've had one bad night or multiple bad nights. And that answer will exactly what the research has shown, that this is important for your. So, firstly, some people feel that I don't feel fresh, I don't feel rested. So, that means sleep has some restorative function. It definitely makes you feel good when you wake up. So, that good is, we can go into it later. Concentration, attention, comprehension, clear thinking, logic, all that happens when you wake up with a good night. So, in other words, that's what the functions of sleep are for the brain. What about emotions? Um, People can think about it and be honest that you are irritable, you are a little angry, you kind of people, patients have remarked that I spark very easily. So, that means it's important for something called as emotional health or emotional balance, and I think the situation that we are in now, the pandemic, uh, it's become a really important thing to be balanced in your emotions. So that's one. Then is the immunity. So you'll be amazed to know that there are numerous studies and research which has shown that a good night helps your killer cells, as they are called, the natural killer cells, to function well. So they pick up all the bacteria, the viruses which are going around and are able, cancer cells, and clear them off. So one bad night can drop the killer cell function by almost 30 to 40%.
Wow.
So in short, then it maintains other things like your desire to eat. What should I eat? How much should I eat? These are by hormones. Then it maintains your cardiac vascular system. It gives the heart a rest. So the heart beating will slow down, blood pressure should come down a bit, metabolism gets better, insulin starts acting, your sugars are well maintained. All these conclusions are because of research. It's not something that just one is saying it. People have been tested, healthy students have been tested for these virus studies, for the insulin metabolism. After one night of a bad sleep, 1 hour short of a sleep, what all it can do to your system.
Wow, ma'am. I think sleep is like a restoration mechanism for the body, whether it is physical health, whether it is emotional health, whether it's your immunity, whether it's your metabolics. Everything
Yes.
is put back into place after a hectic day if you have a good sleep. But ma'am, how do we sleep? ये नींद आती कैसे है?
या सो इसका भी कुछ कॉम्प्लिकेटेड तो हम सवाल का जवाब नहीं देंगे, सिर्फ ये कि दो मेन मैकेनिज्म्स हैं जो हमारे को जगा के रखती हैं और सुला के रखती हैं। उसमें फर्स्ट इज कि आप कितने समय के लिए जागृत रहें। दैट मीन्स अगर आप सुबह जितने भी मर्जी चलो उठो 8 बजे 7 बजे 6 बजे, एंड द नंबर ऑफ hours that you stay awake, that builds up a chemical which is called as adenosine, and it keeps peaking at night. Then it peaks and it will put you to sleep. इस केमिकल को हम ब्लॉक करते हैं कैफीन से. So that is just a thing to remember. We can discuss that later. Second is your internal clock. And we have little clocks all over the body, but there is a master clock in the brain which secretes this chemicals again, and it's a hormone which is melatonin. So which starts again, it's low in the day, starts rising by the evening and peaks at night. So both these two are ideally synchronized, meaning that if you are kept awake for most of the day and you have followed this circadian clock jo hai, the cue is from the light. So if we synchronize our body clock with the sun clock, we will be okay. But we have a third clock, which is called as a social clock. So that interferes with all these clocks. So when the two systems work together, you get good sleep. But we have lots of techniques or hindrances which interfere with these two systems. And that's why you will get a good night and then you will get up in the morning after having got the required amount of sleep.
काश कि मैम हमें मेडिकल कॉलेज में भी इतने सिंपलिसिटी से पढ़ाया जाता है कि एडिनोसिन और मेलेटोनिन का क्या रोल था. आई थिंक दैट वाज अ वेरी सिंपलिसिटिक इंफॉर्मेशन दैट how this body clock works and why sleep again is a hormonal action or a chemical action which is happening in the body. So ma'am, there is a question which asks कि ये हम एक superficial sleep होती है, एक deep sleep होती है, फिर एक सपनों वाली sleep होती है. Can you explain that also in a very very simple method, ma'am, for our viewers?
अगर हम देखें कि हम कितने घंटे नींद में बिताते हैं, 7 hours, चलो 8 hours मान के चलो फॉर एन अडल्ट, तो वी डोंट रिमेन इन वन स्टेट ऑल थ्रू आउट. वी गो थ्रू डिफरेंट स्टेजेस. ये पूरी जो स्टेजेस है इनको 2 चंक्स में डिवाइड किया जाता है और ये ऑलमोस्ट एक साइंटिस्ट ने काफी साल पहले देखा था, 1993 में आके डिस्कवर हुआ था कि एक स्टेज है स्लीप की. When they looked at people, they found that the eyes are moving a lot. So उस stage का नाम रखा गया rapid eye movement. So just because the eyes were seen to, eyeballs were moving inside the eye sockets. So that means, so फिर वो डॉक्टर्स ने देखा कि ये तो rapid eye movement हो गया. What about the rest of the night? उसमें तो इतनी आंखें नहीं हिलती. उसका लिखा गया non rapid eye movement. और ये तब से ये 2 शब्द चलते चले जा रहे हैं एंड नोबडी हैज चेंज्ड देम. अब जो रैपिड आई मूवमेंट है उसको पहले हम कहते हैं एक्टिव स्लीप. मतलब कि उस टाइम ब्रेन में बहुत कुछ चल रहा होता है. कहने को स्लीप है बट द ब्रेन में सर्टेन एरियाज आर वेरी एक्टिव. देयर इज मेमोरी थिंग्स हैपनिंग, देयर इज इमोशनल रेगुलेशन हैपनिंग, हार्ट रेट इज फ्लक्चुएटिंग, लॉट्स ऑफ थिंग्स आर हैपनिंग. उसी में ड्रीम्स आती हैं बहुत ज्यादा. दूसरी जो स्टेज है वो भी बहुत जरूरी स्लीप है. तो रैपिड आई मूवमेंट हमारी पूरी रात की 20% के करीब होती है. बाकी सारी है 80% इज द अदर स्लीप. उसमें क्योंकि आजकल ये ट्रैकर्स ने बहुत लोगों को कुछ नॉलेज भी दी है, कुछ कंफ्यूज भी किया है. उसमें है लाइट स्लीप और डीप स्लीप. तो द डीप स्लीप is the one which is actually called the restorative sleep. तो वो also should form about 20% of the night. तो अगर आपने 8 घंटे सोए बट आप लाइट स्लीप में रहे 40% and then deep sleep 10% and REM sleep, you will get up feeling tired. So कहने को आप सोए 8 घंटे सोए, whatever 9 घंटे सोए, बट अगर deep sleep नहीं आएगी so you will wake up tired. So deep sleep is the time when your heart rate, blood pressure, there's memory consolidation, hormones get secreted, growth hormone comes up. So lots of things happen. And it's physical restoration, body ka bhi and mind ka bhi.
Ma'am, so you have very clearly explained that there is one sleep where we get dreams, one sleep which is restorative, and they have their components also. But just for a layman, what is a good sleep? How does a layman say कि ये 4-5 चीजें हो रही हैं और मैं अच्छा सो रहा हूँ? This is a sleep which is going to restore everything in my body.
So that is the answer is how do you feel when you wake up on certain days? आपने क्या ऐसा महसूस किया कि जब आप सुबह उठो तो लगे कि वो ऐसा दिन तो कभी नहीं देखा मैंने. the sun is so bright. Usually उसके कुछ components होते हैं. एक आप ध्यान रखेंगे तो एक होगा duration of sleep. So duration काफी लोग काफी हद तक समझते हैं because they calculate कि मैं 4 घंटे सोया, 8 घंटे सोया, 10 whatever. So that is the quantity of sleep as we call it. Second one is quality, जो मैंने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले बात किया, अभी कितना percentage of time हमको deep sleep मिल रहा है, REM sleep मिल रहा है, सब कुछ. Third is the timing of sleep. कि अब lot of patients that I'm seeing, students and adults, they are sleeping at 4 a.m. Then they add 8 hours and they get up at 12 noon. So they're saying हमने 8 घंटे तो पूरे कर लिए, तो हम तो ठीक है. So, but unfortunately, like I explained, there is this body clock sync with the sun clock. The hormones, etc., have to peak at certain times. थोड़ा सा confusion हो जाती है body में, so it's not going to be a good sleep. Then comes the regularity of sleep. आप regular कितने हैं? And then comes how are you in the day. So ये काफी concepts हैं जो सब जब इकट्ठे required amount में, required quality में होगा, then that is good sleep. But the test is what the individual feels. So there's another concept that people ask कि कितने घंटे की नींद है, because that will be the question which will often be asked. So sleep, another thing that we need to remember is something called as a sleep need. Up, there is a range for all the medical things that we talk about. There are ranges. There's never one fixed point. Okay, सबको 7 ही घंटे. If you are 20 to 40 years, you need 7 hours. That's not possible. So somebody will need 7, somebody needs 7.5, somebody needs 8, 8.5, 6.5. So either sides you can have people. But suppose you need 8 hours and you every night you say 7 is okay for me. So every night you are missing out 1 hour of sleep which your body needs. In 1 week you are 7 hours behind. It's like if you sit down to eat your food and you think you should eat maybe 2 chapatis or 1 bowl of rice or whatever, but you say today I will eat half. That your body will give you a message. And I think we have got programmed to understand that message that हाँ मेरे को कुछ और खाना है. But sleep, people don't understand that I am missing out. They get up in the morning, but they attribute their fogginess or irritability or mild rise in blood pressure, blood sugar to something else. They don't think that it is because of the sleep issue. So sleep need is variable. It varies according to age. Children, teenagers need 9 to 10 hours, जो तो किसी को नहीं मिल रही. And that's why they are having major problems of mood changes. So we attribute a lot of it and say it's a teenage problem. It's also because of other health issues. So recognize or learn about your own sleep need. How does one do that? You don't need an alarm to wake up. So try on some weekends, on some holidays, कि मैं बिना अलार्म के उठूं तो मैं कितने घंटे चाहिए होता. But there should be no sleep debt. So sleep debt is another concept जो मैंने example दिया, that body starts accumulating this debt. But unfortunately, this debt does not get paid back. वो जो concept, एक और concept है बहुत लोगों का कि मैं catch up sleep. During the week, I sleep 5 hours. Weekend, I sleep 9 to 10 hours. So I catch it up. The research has clearly shown that 1 night of sleep deficit in 1 hour, 2 hours creates havoc with your blood sugar metabolism, your craving for food, your memory, lots of things. So don't, catch up is not a great idea. You may feel that you're catching up on some aspect, you will gain, but some aspects you can't. Let's put it like this.
Absolutely correct, ma'am. And you already answered 2 questions, which was one that can we pay the sleep debt or not? You have already answered that. And second, how much time teenagers should sleep. There were two very quick more questions which we'll take before we go to the next part of this conversation, ma'am. So one question is, if you are getting up in the morning with a headache, what could be the cause and how do you prevent that?
It's actually a very wide question. So I'm not sure I'll be able to do justice to it. There are numerous causes of this headache on awakening. Like I said, I'm a neurologist, so I'm interested in headache as a specialty in neurology. It could be a migraine that you could wake up with. So we need to know the area of pain, aage, piche, one side. Is there any nausea, vomiting, lights bothering you? So those kind of characteristics. It could also be a lack of sleep, a disturbed sleep. It could be because of some stress, anxiety. You can wake up with headaches. You can also have an entity which is called as obstructive sleep apnea. That is snoring with choking in sleep, gasping for air, oxygen drops, and a lot of people. So 15 to 20% of people are coming with severe headaches as a symptom of obstructive sleep apnea. In my own practice, I have seen individuals who have done everything possible for this headache, and the cause was sleep apnea. And we treated the sleep apnea. This individual was getting up every morning and taking a painkiller for the last 10 years. And he said, my painkiller requirement has gone. I never thought this was the case. And I just saw him I think last month. And I was amazed that for so many years, he's been taking a regular painkiller in the morning. But it was sleep apnea, and which he was not aware of. He was functioning well. He didn't have much problems. And just direct questioning said this, there was a lot of snoring.
So, ma'am, that directly brings us to the second part of our conversation, which is about snoring. So snoring, right from, I think, college days when batchmates make fun of you, or to a husband-wife relationship, मैं तो सो नहीं पाती हूँ. Right? It has always been, I would say, a social mockery or taken very lightly. But you just told me that somebody was taking medication for 10 years because of snoring. That's quite serious. So my question to you is, ma'am, how does snoring happen? What is snoring? How does snoring happen?
I'm just going to give you, show you like a model. If you can see something like this. So what is snoring is that normally when we are breathing, so we don't hear each other's breath. So you breathe in, you breathe out. There is no sound which comes. So snoring is a sound which is produced when air goes through a narrow passage. So this is suppose the model, this is the nose, this is the mouth, and this is the tongue. So air goes in and it goes into this pipe, which is an open pipe. So you breathe in, you breathe out, there's no sound. But if there is some narrowing and air goes into some narrow passage, it's like a pressure through a narrow passage, that is a sound. So there's some structures at the back of the throat which kind of vibrate, and that's snoring. So you're right, people don't want to travel with you. People don't want to share a room with you. There was one gentleman who said, my tours and my trips are very expensive. My office gives me this much money, but I have to take a separate room. Flights, you've seen people get very embarrassed. Trains, people get very embarrassed. Somebody said, people start shaking me and telling me, you're disturbing the whole. So and actually, what is sad is that lots of things related to sleep have a big stigma attached to it. So if you want to sleep a little extra, people say you're a lazy person. So they don't let you get enough sleep. If you snore, they make fun of you. So you don't want to seek help, and it becomes like an embarrassment. So I think that's another thing that I would feel, that if you have it, it's not your fault. It's like anything else. If you get fever, it's not your fault. I agree. We started blaming people and checking with this COVID, who's given it to who. But after some time, you don't know who's given it to. So similarly, if you have the snoring, don't feel embarrassed about it. Seek help rather than hiding it and fighting with it and saying, no, you are wrong. So people now record it and bring it to and show it to me, he's saying he's not or she's not, but look, she's snoring or he's snoring. So that's what snoring is.
Right. And all this obstruction happens during sleep only. It doesn't happen when you're awake.
Yeah, it doesn't happen because the muscles of our breathing passage are tight in the daytime with the tone that we have in our body, and it keeps it open. So the tongue muscles, the palate muscles, they all keep the passage open. But at night, so in a way, every individual is predisposed to get a little obstruction, but not everybody manifests it. And if this obstruction becomes more, that means there is no air which goes in at all, ये पूरा बंद हो जाता है, that is called as an apnea. So apnea basically means a pause in breath. And it is significant if it is for 10 seconds. So everybody can do a little practice, hold your nose, close your mouth and hold your breath. And देखो, okay, what do you start feeling for a few seconds? If you were to do this, this is what that apnea is all about. But again, it's been tested and studied extensively in the lab. It starts triggering off, I call it like a volcano in the body. Systems are charged up, hormones get secreted, something like your heart rate will go up, oxygen levels will drop, lot of hormones. So it's BP will go up, a lot of things start happening once that apnea has come.
And ma'am, people who are already overweight, who are diabetic, who are hypertensive, does this snoring or this ये जो सांस की नली का रुकना है, क्या उनमें ज्यादा होता है?
So this brings us to this question कि होता क्यों है? One, तो we said it's at night. So this is the neck. So jitna, once you gain weight, the weight which comes around your abdomen also comes around your neck. So bahar se there is obstruction and this passage gets narrow. So people who have sleep apnea, and if it goes undetected, undiagnosed, they are at a very great risk to develop high blood pressure, high blood sugar. They can get pre-diabetes and then they can enter into diabetes. I mean, I was just looking, I think we are the country which is almost number 2 in diabetes. We are also country heading for obesity. About 80 to 90 million people probably have diabetes in the country. And so, and the relationship between diabetes and sleep apnea is double fold in a way that one, it can increase your blood sugars and make you get diabetes. Second, people who have diabetes, the studies have shown approximately 40 to 60% of people can have coexisting sleep apnea, but it remains undiagnosed, untreated. So what will it do? It will not allow your sugar to come under control. So these people will say that subah uthe ke my blood sugar is very high. So insulin is going up, medical management is going up, but the sugar is not coming into control, especially the early morning, the first sugar, the fasting sugar. And then you ask them, do you snore? Is your night sleep good? If those two things are a problem, that is the cause for a poor diabetes control. Similarly for blood pressure. If you are requiring increasing amount of medication, 2 drugs, 3 drugs, it's going on, BP is going on, getting bad, especially again in the morning. Think about that, is there a sleep apnea sitting underneath that? And once we have seen that we treat it, the medical requirement will come down. Similarly with the diabetic. So the insulin requirement in a lot of my patients has come down once we start treating this.
Thank you, ma'am. And I'm like, we have linked a simple thing like snoring to development of diabetes, to uncontrolled diabetes, to uncontrolled hypertension. Wow. I must thank ResMed for partnering with us to get Dr. Bhatia here today and getting such a rich knowledge, such simple thing which people don't know. लोग दवाई बढ़ाते रहते हैं और पता नहीं क्या क्या करते रहते हैं और फिर डॉक्टर बदल लेते हैं जी हम तो ठीक ही नहीं हो रहे, but they never think कि this is a simple snoring problem which needs attention, which will reduce their diabetes, make their sugars under control and reduce blood pressure. Having said that, ma'am, we have more than 50 people and approximately 70 people here on Zoom live with us, and we have reached to more than 1,000 people as of now. So thanks, Ahmed, for creating so much of awareness on sleep disorders and diabetes.
Maybe we will succeed in our mission of creating importance of sleep.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. That. And this is like hard hitting. Diabetes and snoring. हर बंदा सोचता है मैंने ज्यादा खा लिया, वजन बढ़ गया, मेरे बाप बाप को प्रीडिस्पोज था तो इसलिए मुझे डायबिटीज हुआ, राइट? मेरे में इंसुलिन की कमी होगी इसलिए. But nobody thinks that a sleep disorder or a sleeping pattern itself can lead to diabetes. So my question here is, ma'am, people don't even know about this. What are the warning symptoms or the self-evaluating symptoms where person should get this alarming sign and say, now I need to see a sleep specialist?
Yeah, the first is that each one, I think, can understand how do I feel in the morning, and if I feel rested. And so there can be lots. See, in medicine, we have a lot of questionnaires. We can have diagnostic screening tools. But 2-3 major things. Is your sleep quality good? Is your quantity? Is there loud snoring? So we talked about snoring. I want to say the snoring has certain sub-categorization, if you have to put it simply. Loud snoring, persistent snoring, snoring which definitely disturbs others, needs to be looked into. That is no way normal. And I just want to, that's a separate topic, but just to remember that sleep apnea also occurs in children. And that is why my interest in the International Pediatric Sleep Academy, because IPSA is the body which deals with the pediatric sleep. So they can also have snoring. So do not, and we know now that the child with sleep apnea will grow up to be an adult with sleep apnea and get diabetes and high blood pressure. So please pick up the children very early. We don't want them to be falling sick. So that's one, snoring. Gasping for air, choking at night. So these are the common symptoms. I'll just list a few uncommon ones which people actually do not even realize that these could be symptoms of sleep apnea. One is the headaches. Waking up at night with a headache, waking up in the morning, but like a persistent, like it's a very tight band. It's a very, and during the day, they will drink 3 cups of coffee to get rid of that headache. By the evening, that headache goes away. By night, again, it'll come. Then is frequent trips to the washroom. So this is why it happens at apnea. There is a hormone which gets secreted, which makes the body go to the washroom. So people think, the males think it's a prostate problem. So they'll keep on going to the urologists. Maybe it is a small prostate problem, but it's likely if you're snoring and if you're doing this, it's a sleep apnea. Some people think it's a diabetes symptom, so they'll keep checking their sugars, but it's a sleep apnea. Third is mood changes, which are very important to remember. So some of these, the other one big symptom, see, most of the time we talk about these people's day being very bad. They are nodding off or they can't focus. If they get a chance to nod off while having, extreme cases are having a cup of tea falls in yourself. Extreme cases are actually, I've had people go to the washroom, sit on the pot, go off to sleep, and they fall off. There is such severe sleepiness. But the other feature, which sometimes is more often in women especially, is a very disturbed sleep. So they don't remember about gasping and choking. They just remember that every 2 hours my sleep breaks. So these people snoring, breaking in sleep, and being a little overweight, please think of sleep apnea. And I just want to add, we've talked about relationship of weight and sleep apnea, but there is 15 to 20% of thin sleep apneics, as they are called. So don't always think that you have to be obese. There are thin people, normal BMIs, normal body structure can also have sleep apnea. So snoring, feeling tired, please do think. So snoring, feeling tired, or just feeling tired, you should start evaluating what's happening. And weight gain. Just a little bit about the weight. There's a very strong relationship between snoring, sleep apnea, weight, and then of course diabetes. So there are two hormones which control our food habits, to say. One is ghrelin. It tells us that, okay, now you need to eat. And one is leptin, which tells you, okay, now you stop. That's the break. It's common sense that we need the ghrelin after you to stop at some time, and leptin to also say, okay, now stop. Both these hormones go haywire in patients with sleep apnea or with sleep deprivation due to any cause. So what will happen? The appetite or the hunger hormone increases. So you tend to eat large quantities. So I met a guy who said, I'm eating 10 rotis and I'm still not feeling full. Then comes the satiety. So satiety hormone is also gone. It doesn't stop. Then the third thing it does wrong is the food choices. So which are called as unhealthy food choices. So night cravings. People get up at night and walk around. I mean, there are lots of causes for this night craving, but this happens to be one of them. Want to eat a tub of ice cream, 5 gulab jamuns, rasgullas, 1 kilo laddus, whatever. So people want to eat the sweet and the intense icing, burgers, junk. So the craving is very high. So the whole family is telling them, you eat too much, you don't exercise, you don't walk. But the problem is this, hormones are telling them to eat, and the night is so bad, so the day they are very lethargic, so they can't exercise. So the weight will not come down unless you control the sleep apnea.
No, आपने हमें ना crash course करा दिया है on snoring, right? I think if people start ticking what went wrong when, half of them will find, अरे मुझे तो ये भी हो रहा है, मुझे तो ये भी हो रहा है, मुझे तो ये भी.
Now they have a reason for their craving, so they feel very happy when they come. So I tell them it's not in your control. So you like to hear that something else is taking over me. मैं ही नहीं खा रहा, मेरे को कुछ brain से message आ रहा है, तुम खा लो.
मैम अब जब ये सब कुछ पता चल गया और हमने अपने symptoms को टिक कर लिया, how do we know that the doctor which we want to go is a sleep specialist?
I don't know. Sorry.
What is a sleep specialist, ma'am? You have trained lots of people into sleep studies, made and churned so many sleep specialists. What is a sleep specialist?
So, interesting. So sleep medicine, अगर हम नींद देखें तो like we talked about all the functions, no, in the beginning, for cardiovascular, diabetes, mood, emotional health, mental health, neurological health. So the patients actually go to all these people. Yeah, ENT, they will go to for snoring. Saans ruk jana, they will go to pulmonologists. So they go to all of them. Yes, so psychiatrists, because they feel that my mood is not good, I can't sleep, so then somebody can give them a sleeping pill or whatever. So I think first we analyze our own problems, and yes, and people normally, the journey of the patient, as it's called, is they will go to their physician, or if they have a cardiac, they will go to some cardiologists. I think come forward with your problems a lot more to your doctors. So usually we listen to our patients. That's how we get the history. And the training in medicine is that let the patient talk, which we are supposed to, of course, listen to. And there's a lot of literature and science saying that these days that we're not letting people talk. And we do not, ideally, jo teaching tha ki don't ask too many direct leading questions. But in sleep medicine, I think it's totally different. If you don't ask a leading question, we won't get the answer. So now patients can go forward and talk about that snoring. So many times when they come to me, I ask them, कि आपने बताया था? नहीं, ये तो नहीं बताया था. So you should tell all your symptoms, and then they will put it in connection. That there is very loud snoring. My wife has moved out of the bedroom of the husband, which is called as social divorce. It's amazing how many people have gone into separate bedrooms, but they're not talking about it. So that's how we need to do, and start connecting the two things, that I'm working very hard, I'm exercising, taking care of my diet, my sugar is just not budging, it's going up and up. So what's happening? And then if not, then you seek out a few specialists. So India, yes, there are trainings now, the chest mein hai, neurology mein hai, there are trainings happening in sleep medicine. But yes, we need to be quite involved with our patients, which is quite a, it's a new speciality, so we're all still learning, let's say, put it together.
Yeah, ma'am, because as you said, we are creating awareness, education, which is actually empowering the patients to recognize their own symptoms and seek the right advice and go and talk to their doctor what is right. And if the doctor feels that, yeah, there is another colleague of mine who is specializing in and has been specially trained in managing these patients, they land up at the right place.
Yeah, I think that's so. Like, see, diabetes. Okay, we did MD medicine from CMC. I mean, we were very good at that. But the diabetes treatment has undergone radical change in the last few years. So if my patients are not settling, I will refer them to a diabetes specialist.
Yes.
If the BP is not getting controlled, okay, one or two medicines, but after that, I will refer them to a specialist, to a cardiologist, or to a good physician, because we cannot, medicine is rapidly evolving. We can barely keep pace with what is changing. Every day when you open, there are new genes, new research. So it's very difficult. So I think we can take help of our colleagues who are specialists in the fields.
एंड मैम डायबिटीज के लिए तो हमें सबको मालूम है कि ब्लड टेस्ट होंगे, फिर कुछ मशीन के टेस्ट होंगे, न्यूरोपैथी के चेक करेंगे, आंख को चेक करेंगे. अब जब कोई पेशेंट आपके पास आएगा कि these are my symptoms and you feel that this patient is suffering from obstructive sleep apnea which is leading to the volcano as you described, इन पेशेंट्स में क्या टेस्ट करते हैं मैम? हाउ डू यू evaluate your patients and how do you grade your patients?
So first I do a history. So it takes me a very long time. It takes me about 30 to 40 minutes for a first interview. I need to know what we call as the night, but I need to know about their full day. कितने बजे खाना खाते हैं, कितने बजे सोते हैं, लास्ट एक्टिविटी, टीवी कितने बजे चलता है, व्हाट्सएप कितने बजे चलता है. So then we get a complete who all are in the house, how many people are in the bedroom, how many people are on the bed. Are there 10 dogs with you on the bed? Are there 3 children in the bed? So what all is happening? Only then you can understand sleep. I cannot understand sleep in just about 10 minutes. So that's one thing. I need to make a complete profile of this individual to understand what is it that has disturbed the sleep. In the COVID time now, did his family get COVID? Did he get COVID? Did his relatives get it? So, I've had people who are just themselves have had a problem, which we can talk in the next session. We'll focus a lot more on that. So that's one part, that we take a detailed interaction, let's say, put it like this. Uske baad, whether it is online, which is the current, I think I've seen thousands of people online now from all over the country, but if it's physical or online, we kind of get an idea about the structure of their face. The nose, the mouth, the oral cavity, to try and understand that can I see, obviously, if there's something happening here. Blood pressure, body weight, height, which gives me an idea about their build. So are they predisposed to getting obstructive sleep apnea? So after forming this thing, and if we are heading towards the diagnosis of obstructive sleep apnea, which is one of the common sleep disorders, maybe 10 to 15 million in the country, but 80 to 90% are remaining undiagnosed, and they will all develop high blood pressure or diabetes in the years to come. We start going towards a test which is called as a sleep study. So sleep study is obviously, first of all, it's a night test, because you're trying to assess the sleep. Because I have people coming in and saying, "Abhi kar do, 1 ghante ke liye, 2 ghante ke liye." So we talked about the number of hours we need. So firstly, it's a night test. There are different types of sleep study, as we are talking to the audience and public now. So they can also, I'll speak very simply so they understand. The So we have one which I tell people is the best one, what we call gold standard Bolo, best Bolo. In that, lots of sensors are placed and activity or information is obtained from many sensors. From your brain, because brain matlab head actually, we put little stickers around your eye and stickers on your chin. That tells us about your sleep, which we talked about, rapid eye movement and non-rapid eye movement. Then we have something at the tip of your nose for the breathing and snoring. We have something for the oxygen, which everybody understands now, the oximeter. And there is a belt around the chest for the breathing, and then something. So that is one system. And that is the ideal system. And in that night, this is usually done with a trained technician on duty who can pick up and say, oh, I can see a breathing stop, I can see oxygen drop. And उसके हमारे rules हैं कि हम कितने घंटे के लिए हमको ये देखना है and कितने घंटे that we can put some treatment. So that's one part. But now, in the last, this was approved, this other method I'm going to talk about by the US FDA many years ago. But I think this COVID time just pushed it, and US actually started using it a lot more. We've started using it a lot more now recently. So there is this device now, which it's again by the ResMed, and they have these 2-3 little sensors. So firstly, there are no wires or sensors on the head, eyes, or face. This has one which comes at the tip of your nose, one which comes on your finger, and one around the chest, which is a belt. So people, and this is battery operated, and the data gets stored in this. So there's no technician involved. And it is sanitized. There are the nose one is disposable. Oxygen one on the finger is not disposable. So these are cleaned. They are given to the patient with videos on how to wear it. Or my staff can, or doctor staff will teach them how to wear it. And they wear it at night by themselves. They can go to the washroom, they can come back and take it off in the morning and send it back to the doctor. We've actually been pretty successful with this. Before March 2020, I was trying to do this, but there was a lot of apprehension. After this, I think we've done about 150 of them. So it's pretty, and the success rate is very good. Data is obtained. We have not had any issue that nahi hua. So somebody in the house or whatever. So this is one method. So which is effective. But just to say that this is to be done for people who you are thinking have obstructive sleep apnea. So it is not done for people who are like sleepwalking, falling off their bed, abnormal behavior in sleep. So please, just that's separate, okay? Then came another one recently, which is this. So if you see, this is only to the last itna sa hai. This is battery operated again. And this has some kind of strips which are like, so this can be placed on your finger. And so this doesn't even have the nose part. It has no belt. And there's an app for this. So you can click on this at night once you wear it. And the data goes on to the cloud. The other advantage is that can be used for 3 nights in a row. Because sometimes this one people feel, oh, I didn't sleep. Somebody told me I slept at 5. And then by 9, I took it off. So I'm not sure. So this constant doubt is there that I'm not sure. This one, you give it for 3 nights. We've been able to send it all over the country to people by courier, and the reports come to us. And again, it has been accurate. It tells you the oxygen, it tells you the breathing pauses, and number of hours of sleep. So just to say that these are the 2 simpler methods. They have their limitation that there's a little bit of an error, obviously, as compared to the gold standard or benchmark. But if the suspicion is high, they are pretty useful.
That's awesome, man. Because मैं एक क्वेश्चन पूछने वाला था, इतने सारे सेंसर्स के साथ नींद कब आएगी? If you are trying to
So,
study.
I mean, oh, you think like that. I agree. So I don't tell people so, but सब सो जाते हैं बड़ी and लगाते लगाते ही सो जाते हैं.
Yeah.
So my staff is supposed to do something called as calibration, that we ask them to open eyes, close eyes, to check the sensor quality. And they say that by the time we are putting them, some of them have fallen asleep.
Right.
So it's the ones who have a severe sleep problem, they are able to sleep. They don't. It's not so bad.
But it's really very impressive to see these devices, ma'am, and how life has been simplified for people, especially in COVID times when such exposure is not guaranteed. People don't want to come out of the home to a center to get sleep the whole night. They are more
Yes.
comfortable at their own home. I think it's very impressive, and the way technology is shaping to at least pick up
Yes.
early signs and suspicions, which can be further confirmed on a gold standard
Yes.
rather than missing.
So, exactly. So if these come abnormal, then it's easy for us and we move forward with the treatment. If our suspicion is very high and these tests have not shown the positivity, then we have to go back and do the first one. It's like an example that you do a random sugar and it comes borderline, So somebody says, nahi, nahi, maine to abhi meetha khaya tha, kuch khaya tha. I don't think I have diabetes. So you will go back and do fasting sugar, PP sugar, HbA1c, like the blood pressure. People come into the clinic, we check it and they'll say, nahi, yahi aaya, aaj hi high aaya, mera kabhi high nahi. So we say, okay, you wear a 24-hour BP monitoring or you check the BP. So if your suspicion is high, you keep on following it. If you are able to get the information, then it's kind of good enough. And these data, for especially the first one, I just want to add, should always be seen by a trained person. So the computers are still not yet, let's say, sensitive enough to pick up all. So it takes 2.5 hours to report that first the detailed study. It's a very laborsome and a cumbersome procedure, but its accuracy is of course very high.
So ma'am, we are in the last 7 minutes of this session. Time flies. It was so interesting, and we have reached to more than 1,500 people already. With at any given point of time, almost 120 people live. I have two last questions for you. One, my second last question is, what if somebody doesn't seek medical attention, does not go to the doctor कि यार ignore करते हैं, क्योंकि हमारी तो acute emergency वाली medicine practice है ना मैम, जब तक गिर नहीं जाएंगे, जब तक emergency में नहीं जाएंगे, जब तक heart attack नहीं हो जाएगा, तब तक क्यों कुछ करना? So what can go wrong if people don't seek medical attention when they have identified their symptoms?
So that's exactly how we started, and जो आपने खुद बोला अभी कि heart attack हो जाएगा. So इसके sequelae of untreated OSA has been seen that it's almost 2 to 3 times the risk of developing a cardiovascular event. तो cardiovascular का मतलब है stroke, heart attack, high blood pressure. So ये सब हो सकता है, आपका risk बढ़ जाता है. ये कैसे मतलब कि if you have 100 people who have treated and 100 not treated, the not treated ones will get more sick. So one is to develop these diseases. Second is they can get depression, mental health problems. Third is overall loss of productivity. So, if you are in your 40s or late 30s or early 50s, there's been seen a lot of overall poor quality of life, overall loss of productivity. The biggest thing is actually accidents. So that's how this thing gained a lot of more importance. We should have talked about that the first thing in US as well. Large, big accidents, flight accidents we've had, train accidents, buses accidents. So if you see the highest number is coming towards the early morning hours. And US has then done a lot of studies on seeing that when the pilots come, how many hours have they stayed awake? So is their sleep drive very high? How much gap should they get? So based on this, a lot of policies have come out. The Federal Aviation Society, डॉक्टर्स का जो निकला था अभी कितने घंटे ड्यूटी करनी है, क्यों निकला था, because they found that your fine judgment, critical thinking is getting impaired. So these are the things which can happen. We now, which we can talk in our next session, is what happens in the brain. Memory is a big thing. Simply to say that at night there is like a vacuum cleaning happening of the brain. It removes all the junk. So अगर वो junk नहीं remove करेंगे तो brain will get clumps, and that is leading to dementia. So I have people who had stroke and blood pressure, snoring and blood pressure, then they got a stroke. Then they said अब treatment ले लेंगे. Or they got a stent, and then they said अब ले लेते हैं. So these are the kinds. So there's atrial fibrillation, irregular beating of the heart. So these are the things which we now know will come. When they come, you're right, human brains and body. So there are different types of people. There are some who will only act, and that's our internal psychological makeup, I would say, who will only act when there's a problem. तो देखा जाएगा, होगी stroke तो I will see. Then there are some, उनको तुम ये बता दो कि you are at risk, they'll say आज ही कर दो जो करना है. So it's human behavior is such that some people will take health very seriously. Some people will say it won't happen to me, it will happen to my neighbor. मैं तो ठीक ही हूँ.
No, I think that one thing is what COVID has changed. People have become more conscious about their health, and it's the young population which is more conscious कि नहीं यार पहले बच जाएं. If we are alive, then only our family would be.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. And during one of our when I used to practice, one of my teachers, I said, "Sir, ये lady है, इसका 24 साल का बेटा है, and she doesn't have a husband, and she's HbA1c इनका बड़ा है, sugar बढ़ी है और दवाई नहीं लेना चाहते." तो my professor very subtly said, "बहन जी आप मत लो दवाई, कुछ नहीं होगा, खून गाढ़ा हो जाएगा, या तो लकवा मार जाएगा, या आंख की रोशनी चली जाएगी, हार्ट अटैक आ जाएगा, किडनी फेल हो जाएगी, डायलिसिस हो गया, पैर काटना पड़ेगा. अब आप डिसाइड कर लो आपको वो सब करना है कि दवाई खानी है." So I think there are some people who want to see what can go worse and then come to it. And then we have a lot many now in these COVID times who are really conscious. And I think the very subtle signs which you have told, that snoring हो रही है तो sugar नहीं control हो रही, snoring हो रही है तो daytime sleepiness हो रही है, right? You're not in that good mood, and productivity जिसके लिए हम सब लोग आज भाग रहे हैं. If that is getting compromised, I think it's right time to seek medical attention. Be safe rather than sorry, right? So that brings us to the end of this session. We have got 1 full hour from Dr. Manveer Bhatia. She has, I would say, devoted her life to this cause of creating awareness on good sleep and obstructive sleep apnea. If you want to listen about, and we got many requests that people wanted to talk about insomnia, sedatives, CPAP, jerks in sleep, sleepwalking, how much screen time, how to go to bed, COVID and sleep, as you said, memory impairment. So if you want to listen to all this, please again log us with us, come back, join us on 25th of June, again at 7 p.m. We'll have this great lady, I think, who's a born teacher, जिस तरीके से मैम समझाती हैं. And if you want to send us more questions, please send us more questions so that we prepare that session according to what you want to listen. So we'll discuss the treatment strategies of क्या करना क्या है. आपने टेस्ट तो कर लिया, वो स्लीप टेस्ट तो हो गया, इतनी सुंदर हमने डिवाइसेस देख ली, लेकिन इसके बाद करना क्या है और आप कितनी जल्दी ठीक हो जाएंगे, इस सब के बारे में डिस्कशन करेंगे in our next session on 25th June, which is the next patient education series by HCH in association with ResMed, which brings all this awareness to the public of India. Thank you so much, ma'am, and I appreciate and salute your cause, ma'am. Look forward to again talk to you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.